Alright YouTube, let's talk about coffee dates. It's a great way to dodge a bullet. If you've been on the internet, you might have heard women and female dating coaches sharing their opinions on coffee dates.
Coffee dates are not dates.
Okay.
Why most women feel like coffee dates aren't acceptable or Starbucks dates or ice cream dates is because it's very low effort.
And if you're like me, then you probably want to give up on dating after listening to them too. For my single brothers and sisters out there who have been force-fed this grade A premium fertilizer, I want to do the service of reviving your interest in dating. And I'm gonna do it by dismantling the key arguments these women usually use when they talk about coffee dates. Are you ready? Well, you better be, because I had to sacrifice some brain cells to make this video. Number 1. Coffee dates are low effort and platonic. I think you mean to say low pressure and casual. Here's the problem with the current dating trends. Everyone thinks it's a test of worthiness, rather than looking for chemistry and compatibility.
You see, men understand that coffee dates are bare minimum. When a man asks you out for a coffee, he's essentially inviting you to prove your worth to him.
Sure, I get the prerequisite to romance is being wowed and impressed, but we're talking about a first date here. We don't live in a fairy tale where everyone falls in love and gets married after seeing each other. Relationships are meant to be progressive, and you can take your time finding out if there's chemistry. If you stop trying to speedrun romance, you'll probably avoid creeps more often. Speaking of creeps, we all agree that just because a guy is paying doesn't mean they're entitled to hookups. So I'm going to keep the energy equally distributed and say that women aren't entitled to free food on a date. If you want dinner on the first date because you want to dress up, that's understandable. But if women don't want to be labeled as entitled users, then we should normalize splitting the bill. And before you tell me that it's a man's job to pay, then I say it's a woman's job to please. I'm sorry to say it, but some of you are as pleasant as nails scraping on a chalkboard. Seriously, it's 2024. What happened to all the girl boss I don't need no man energy? Let me say it another way. You aren't wifey, so why do you expect him to do hubby things like pay bills? A first date is basically a vibe check, not a financial demonstration. Lower your expectations and you might get a second date. Number 2, if you accept a coffee date, you have low self-esteem.
This is why you should never accept a coffee date for a first date. Perhaps it sounds convenient to you because you don't need to spend the whole evening with a stranger you may not like. But a guy who just invites you for coffee shows such low effort, it almost shows as if he's not interested in getting to know you. As if he says, let that girl prove herself first before I'm willing to take her out for dinner. But let me tell you what this says about you. If you accept a coffee date, that actually shows that you accept the bare minimum, and that shows how you see yourself.
Seriously, if you're going to try and manipulate other women, you should make it a little less obvious. First of all, if you're basing your self-esteem on how much someone is willing to spend on you, then you have bigger problems. But then again, if dating coaches can control a woman's self-worth, they make easy clients, don't they? Also, do you know how rare it is to find someone who's good at conversations? Any woman out there can plaster their face with all the makeup in the world. It won't change the fact that they're basic and boring. Being able to carry conversation, be it a man or a woman, is highly attractive. Just because you don't have a personality doesn't mean you need to project that on others. Number 3, my makeup is more expensive than coffee and I don't want to waste my time on a cheap date.
Ladies, this man right here is broke. He's broke. Look at him. Look at him.
So let me get this straight. You want a man to compensate you by buying you dinner for the service of making yourself look good. And you also want to be compensated for the time you spend on that date. Well, that's just prostitution with extra steps.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Hey, don't get mad at me for thinking that because you're the one who put a price tag on yourself. The only difference between you and a hooker is they're cheaper and come with less attitude. Look, I understand it's not easy to spend a lot of time on your looks, but women are the ones who brought it up. Should a man be compensated for buying a suit, watch, and putting expensive cologne so he smells good for you? Think about it. Women made dating transactional, so when you ask men to pay stuff for you, you're basically telling us your price tag. And I'm sorry to say, men don't want to pay for attitude. Face it, you're just bad product. Number 4, women want excitement and coffee dates are not exciting. True, so wait for the second date. Is it truly such a big ask to spend one date getting to know each other before you expect someone to take you on a more exciting ride? You don't want to be love bombed, right? You don't want to be manipulated into thinking that you owe a man for all the money he spends, right? If you would just take some time to check if the two of you are compatible, then it's not a waste of time. You can end it right then and there, Or you can go on a second date. Number 5, high value men don't do coffee dates. Oh, you mean high financial value men, the ones you're not going to get because your entitlement is a big ick for them. Let's just be real. We just use the term high value men to talk about rich guys that you want to take advantage of. It's just that calling them high value men makes you sound like less of a gold digger.
Ray, that's sacrilegious.
What?
It's a god.
And you know, men should stop using the term as well. It's just a stupid term for stroking your ego. Ever heard of the phrase value is in the eye of the beholder? Well, you better start using it because it's true. Some people value intellect more than looks. Some people value compatibility over finances. People like different things, and just because you call someone or something high value doesn't mean it holds the same value for everyone. Well, that's all the points I wanted to talk about, but I want to be clear on some things. I don't think it's a bad thing to have standards. I do think it's bad when you have unreasonable standards, because at the end of the day, you're only shooting yourself in the foot. And I mean it when I say that I would prefer if everyone has their happy ending. I just think you'll only get it if you manage your expectations. Hopefully you got something out of this rant. This guy's just well-meaning advice. Leave a like, subscribe, and leave your comments down below. See you next time.